Good morning, everybody, or afternoon, or your regional equivalent. And welcome to an unfortunately relatively late announcement for Capital Tournament number 5, Total Gravitational Turmoil. Now, I'm very sorry that it's taken me a number of days to upload this video. The actual announcements themselves were in fact posted on both my Discord, the Deluxe Gaming Discord, and the Reassembly Discord, as well as the Russian Reassembly Discord, quite a number of days prior to the 31st of January, as you can see. Now, the reason for that was technical complications and other problems, so I'm very sorry about that. Oh, Reassembly, you're very loud in my ears. There we go. So I'm sorry about that, but look, you still have 2 weeks, I guess, and I might extend the date if enough people ask. However, that's beyond the point. This is Capital Tournament number 5, an experimental gravity well tournament. There will of course be a gravity well in the arena, and for those without the field's expansion, rest assured your fleets will survive in the field so long as they conform to the tournament speed minimum. And yes, I am reading off a notepad, so don't worry about me. That's the reason I don't have this full screen, is that I can actually go through my rules while we go through it. So if we load up tournaments, I'll walk you through the normal general rules. This is pretty much a standard capital ship tournament. However, there's a gravity well. That's effectively it. There might be 1 or 2 other adjustments, but I can't necessarily remember. But it's pretty much a standard gravity tournament. Although it has capital speed limitations. We'll get to that in a bit. So okay. General rules, as normal, 1 fleet per contestant. So here we have the Last Stand Navy with the Orion class Ferolda Mark 5 speeder. Let's go ahead and give them a name. So it'll be, the LSN, and then whatever their fleet name is. And then we have the GCD with the Skyger Superior Min. Should be Max, but whatever. So, as an example. So 1 fleet per contestant, 1 fleet, 1 faction, vanilla campaign blocks only. Which is to say, blocks that you can only blocks that can be unlocked during a normal vanilla campaign. And then we'll go over other banned blocks after that. So, okay. Yes, that's all I'll say. So, banned blocks, speaking of them, the Terran Asteroid Thruster is banned, as well as the Terran Station Command Core. That's normally always banned in all tournaments because it's broken. Then the Farmer Super Thruster, of course. The Tinkrell, everything is banned. Bees, nothing is banned. Sentinel, melee armor, and nukes. As you would expect in a gravitational well, melee armor is going to kill things. So even more so than normal. So we don't want that. Let's go to options. Arena borders, soft, arena size is 20,000, keeping it quite small, just to make things go faster. Gravity, obviously field type is gravity well. Slow isn't as entertaining, but it can be. Slow is actually a very weird setup, because your ships can think faster, and there's more stuff that kind of happens, but yeah, it's very interesting. Lasers are, of course, unhindered in a slow zone, so lasers are the superior choice. But anyway, so gravity well. Asteroid fill is obviously off. Resources off. Time limit 2 minutes. Rounds 3. Auto advance always, double elimination, of course, so you get 2 chances. Scoring, damage inflicted. And then countdown 5 seconds, so that doesn't really matter. Okay. So, let's get to actual fleet rules. Max of 32 ships. I'll say that one more time. You have a maximum of 32 ships. You have a maximum fleet budget of 32,000p. So you can see that the LSN over here are just underneath it, and the GCD are also just underneath it. You also have a minimum fleet P of 31,000. So if you have a big fleet and for some reason you can't fill that last 1,000 PowerPoint gap, that's okay, just as long as you get within the ballpark, that's fine. But of course, you can't go over. There's a minimum of 100p worth of weapons on any one ship. No spacer ships, everyone works within the same spawning constraints here. So a spacer ship is basically if you have just a core with a long, which is, okay, so I don't have a good example because I don't make them. But imagine you literally just have a stick of one thick blocks that just go across the screen with like a little core in the middle and maybe like a gun at either end. That's called a spacer. It's used to space out a fleet, in theory. What it normally does is add an annoying, well, it just adds another thing to distract the different AI ships, so it's a bit of an annoyance. Rather put that into an actual small little ship that flies around and does the job properly instead of dying in 12 seconds. No ships may spin as a method of locomotion, which obviously means that no spinner ships. If you have a ship that flies by spinning, you can't do that. If your ship gets chunks blown off of it and it starts spinning, that's fine, actually, kind of. Depends if you're abusing the nature of spinning, because spinning, of course, makes things like missiles and torpedoes very powerful because they gain the momentum and they get shot out at ridiculous speeds, much faster than they would normally go, and that can utterly and completely annihilate things. Also, spinners have much higher health because they're taking dispersed damage, and that's all healing all the time, and so it's a bit too powerful, especially against normal non-spinning ships. So so no ship may spin as a method of locomotion. Of course, one core per ship. That's stacking is of course banned as normal, except thruster on thruster. Thrusters can be stacked onto thrusters, but thrusters can in no way be stacked onto blocks of any kind besides thrusters. So basically this means you can make large hyper-stacked thruster blocks if you want to make your capital a little more maneuverable. So that's a nice little area of skill if you want to try and do that. But you can't just put them inside of armor, because that's starting to get a little bit too powerful. I know some people do very much enjoy stacking. I can't really build very big ships, so whatever. In terms of accounting for all that thrust, so that's just like a little fun thing. Also a bit of a skill ceiling. So, special ship rules. Now, these are the standard capital tournament rules, but they're special in a sense comparative to the normal rules. So, the amount of ships, max costs, and stat requirements are detailed below. So, of course, you can check ship stats in the sandbox with your ship imported and selected. Stats will display at the bottom right. So, okay. Of course, compulsory one Orion class capital ship. For example, the Orion class Ferolda Mark 5 speeder, which has to be 16,000 power point cost. It can be below that by about 50 power points. There's a bit of wiggle room. I mean, as you can see, this is below by 50. So it's just on the mark. But of course, getting it to 16,000p is difficult, but I want you to get it to 16,000p because they're, if people start to go crazy with it, it kind of ruins the point of a capital ship. It's got to be about 16,000p. Can't go over, of course, but it can go a little bit under. That's fine. It must be the largest ship in the fleet. Okay? You have a maximum of the 1,000 bounding radius maximum. So if you go into Sandbox, you import your ship, click it, go look down at the bottom right, it says bounding radius, that cannot be above 1,000. Then the capital must also be the slowest ship in the fleet. So must have a minimum forwards acceleration of 400. Similarly, Sandbox, import, select, look. Forwards acceleration must be greater than 400. Now, as I say that it is the slowest ship in the fleet, this implies all other ships must be faster than it. Their minimum forward acceleration must be above 400. Likewise, as this is the largest ship in the fleet, all other ships must be smaller. So, for example, the Alpha classes. So, you have a maximum of 2 Alpha class ships, which are 8,000p max cost. They are the second biggest ships in the fleet, and they're smaller than the capital, larger than the Beta. The Beta is the next tier down, and they must be faster than the capital. So, you can have up to 2 of these guys, of course, because you only have so many points. But it is possible to only have one of them and a couple of the others, but you may only have, you understand. There's only 2 ships that can go above, so okay, let's go to the Beta and you understand. So optional. Beta class ships. Now, you can have as many ships as you want, obviously within the fleet limit, of 3,000 PowerPoint max beta class ships, which are these little guys, like the Ripper or the Dinky. They are under 3000p. And the only ships that can go above 3000p is, of course, the Alphas. And the only ship that is 60,000p is the Orion class. So, yeah. And, of course, Alphas can be 4,000 power points if you want, but you can only have 2 of them. So it makes sense. Okay. The Betas, that is the ones that are 3000p max, 3000p or less, must be the smallest ships in the fleet, and they must be the fastest ships in the fleet. So the Betas must be faster than the Alphas, which must be faster than the Orion class. The Betas must be smaller than the Alphas, which must be smaller than the Orion class. Alright, simplicity. Within the Beta class, within the Beta category, ship size doesn't matter, speed doesn't matter, as long as they are, of course, faster and smaller than the higher tier structure. The Alphas, likewise, can, doesn't matter if one of the Alphas is bigger than the other. Obviously that doesn't matter, just as long as they are bigger than this and slower than the Betas. Okay. Alright, that's pretty much it. Submissions to lapsapnow@gmail.com, which is lapsapnow@gmail.com. Entries are due the 14th of February. However, check the Discord servers for updates, because I might increase that time limit depending on if people ask me, if enough people ask me. Because I know I was late to get this announcement video out, and that's entirely my fault because of technical issues, but oh well. So, and it will also be streamed on the Saturday following, so that is the 15th of February. Alright. Okay. Thank you, everybody. I actually meant to play this, but at the same time I had to show the ships, so that's a thing. Alright, I'm going to fill the last couple minutes of this. Those little betas somehow survive against the giant Skyger Superior Max's open firepower. Boom, 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 boom. Lovely. Where are you going, camera? Come on. Oh, for older. What a mess of bullets. And yes, it goes out saying that in the very middle of the battle arena is a neutron star that if anything hits it, they completely die. Like that poor little GCD ship that got annihilated. I think it's worth noting that these ships do not conform to the minimum speed requirement exactly. I don't think the Alpha. He definitely doesn't. Neither do the GCD Alphas, but that's neither do the Betas, I think. But they're demonstration ships, so it doesn't really matter all too much. But you know the rules. You know what you have to do. These ships are special. No, Alpha, get out of there! Get out of there! Get out of there! Oh, ooh, look at that lovely spread of railgun fire. It's still going. There it goes. Wow. Effective. And yes, bullets also get pulled around by the gravity well. Bullets, missiles, everything. Of course, we are on soft borders, so things bounce off the edge. Which does mean that mines, missiles, and torpedoes are even more effective than normal. So enjoy that. I think that should be very fun. Oh, poor Beta. It's a Ripper. It still took a hell of a pounding, as they say. Took a lot of damage. Yes, Ferolda! Hunting that poor little thing. Look at all the missiles go screaming around. Oh. Bunk, bunk. Your Bleater is enjoying himself there. Round and round. That captain is getting sick, I tell you what. Ah, the Orion class wins. 14,000 damage. Yeah, as you'd expect. And yes, we're doing it damage dealt, because that's more reliable than damage taken. Damage taken starts you with points as high as your actual fleet power point cost, which means that evidently larger fleets start with more points, which isn't fair. Now, it's fair if your fleet is, around about 16,000 power points. Sorry, 32,000. But if one of the other fleets starts with 1,000 less or whatever, then it's a little bit of an unfair thing. So that's why we do damage taken. And also it has to do with, obviously dealing damage, which is the entire, primary functionalograph of the system. Don't ask me what a functionalograph is. I like making up things. Look at those missiles go. For all the... Look at that burst pulse sprayed. Gorgeous. That hailfire of bullets. It's pretty gorgeous. Oh yeah. Alright, well, that's pretty much that. Let's go. 64 times speed! No, a bleater! A bleater! Whoa, what the... Oh yeah, the camera sort of doesn't take its movements into account in terms of the speed of simulation for some reason. That's an old bug. Old bug with a gorgeous... Oh, look at that. That poor little thing is still alive somehow. For all the fire! Boom! I love the little burst pulse. Oh, Oblita. The Oblita just take out the Skyger Superior Max. I can believe it. That's... Oh, it literally did. Wow. Very nice. Oh, for all the... Oh, for all the... Oh, for all the... Oh, for... Oh, for Alder. For all the... Please, for all the... Your view on the edge, my little friend. Oh, that's the instant... That is the instant gravitic death zone in the middle there. That's insanity. It's just spinning. I'm sorry, that was really funny. Alright. So until next time, everybody. Cheerio.